What is up, DTube Steam blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about the change in activity. So with modern technology, the way it's going, it's gonna make some people are gonna do different things, especially in terms of activity. I mean, you can even look at your, let's say your parents, or yeah, your parents or your grandparents. They just had more activity, more stuff to do that required probably more physical labor. But the way things are going, it is somewhat moving away from that in many ways, and this is gonna affect humans in many ways. It does change, like when you're burning, let's say, less energy, because your activities are of a different nature. It makes it so you're just gonna do different things. You're just gonna do different things, right? And what I'm seeing is that there's more people that they're sort of starting to go a little bit deeper into this these questions of looking at larger questions and looking at how you can solve them, or what is the root cause of something. More people, it seems like more people are looking for answers, and I think that that is only gonna increase, because there is going to be more people when they're moving into this different nature of activity, because they can get the same output by doing less. When they're moving into this different phase of activity in terms of how they're living their life, yeah, I mean, more people want answers on things, and more people are gonna dig a little bit deeper, and more people are probably gonna become a little bit more aware of things that was always there, but they didn't put any life energy into it to dive deeper into it. But when you get this opening up of oh, you have a little bit more time over, yeah, it's like people are probably going to explore stuff, you know. So yeah, different activity, like different nature of activity. Compared to your grandparents, you probably can get the same output by doing 10x less, or 15x less, or maybe even 30x less, which is kind of fascinating. And a big reason why that's the case is, of course, because we have better technology. Like, a lot of investments has been done into moving society into this phase where you can have the technology do a lot of stuff, so you don't have to. There's still stuff to be done, of course, because there is always new stuff to do. Like, there's no end to, like, there's limitless stuff to do, of course, but the nature of activity still changes, and that's kind of interesting. So in a way, I sort of feel that it's almost like a chapter is closing the next couple of years, and you have this new chapter coming in, where maybe right now, maybe there's just maybe like 10,000 people doing new forms of activity. But in the coming years, that's probably going to increase exponentially. And what I mean with doing different activities, one big thing I see, for example, is that people are sort of starting to look at how they can reach more people. They're starting to look at it, okay, like, you can do a lot of stuff that has a small reach, But why do that when you instead can try to reach millions or billions of people? And in that way, with a larger reach, you can just spread intelligence much faster. And so that's a big change in activity that I'm sort of seeing, that people are first of all trying to see how they can reach more people. Another thing I'm sort of starting to see also is how people are also, at the same time as they're trying to reach more people, it also seems like they're also trying with a few people to develop those sort of relationships a little bit deeper with some individual people, and like building up networks on the internet in a way that we did not see in the early phases of internet, when people were mainly just exploring. Now it seems like people are trying to sort of retain friends and like networks a little bit more, it seems like. So that's kind of interesting to kind of see that uh be expanding. And it's going to be interesting to see this connecting the world phase to this, like, to these new networks, and now maybe talk about these new intelligence networks, like something like Steam blockchain. I mean, a lot of that is just about getting people accounts and getting them to sort of explore new systems by themselves, and sort of see what they can sort of bring to the table. Yeah, it's a lot of it's a big like connection phase, because the technology is already here to do a lot of cool stuff. It's just that access phase. I talked a little bit about it earlier today, how it's moving from ownership to sort of access, and this is a lot of people that don't have access. Uh, and not have access, I mean, that can mean a lot of things, like they may not have access to proper knowledge, they may not have access to money, may not have access to technology. Yeah, there can be a lot of things there that's gets kind of evolved in that kind of topic. um so that is what I think that more people are gonna start to look at, and that is a big thing, big change, sort of in activity, that people are gonna start to consider these things. And also a big change in activity, I think, is that people are more gonna see things from a win-win perspective, and that they can have more personal experiences, where they sort of see that if someone is winning over there, that can actually benefit you as well. Something that the old paradigm was very much like dominate and like win lose. So that is kind of interesting to sort of see how that's going to play out as well. And hopefully can get to a phase where, I mean, it already kind of is like that right now, that people don't have to buy new technology literally every single year. It's more and more moving into the phase where technology is lasting 4 to 5 years, which is very, very cool, because with this sort of extra excess value that they may gain or create or whatever, they may start to look at how they can allocate that in way better ways. And this is really interesting with new technology, how you get new interesting smart systems that tries to make better systems to allocate resources, or to allocate, or like to store value and retain value, like better, smarter systems for that with new technology. That's kind of interesting, because just like maybe 5 years or so, it's very, very hard to just find anything that was like you had the traditional things, and it was kind of set in stone, like what new value you can create, or you need to use these old systems. But now it's like there's way more opportunity, way more opportunity. There are way more experiments, way more failures also, but also way more success stories. Even though in the short term, many of these success stories, they kind of look like failures because the success is kind of small. I mean, it's not like a lot of stuff is like growing slowly, so it kind of, it's not like super impressive, but at least like people have more, there's like more stuff going on, and that's kind of cool also to sort of see. So a big change there you have in the change of activity is how people a lot this an explore phase where, yeah, I mean, something new cool can come up every month now in a way faster rate than kind of like how it used to be. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of fascinating. Another thing with activity, of course, is, well, when people get more access to knowledge, they also, in the short term, they can become a little bit sad and bitter because they sort of see that a lot of stuff kind of looks pretty hopeless, if you really look at it. um, but I think eventually people can come to a phase where they can sort of, move past that, move past those kind of ideas. So yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. So the core message here is the change in activity. Like, yeah, the activity is going to change. Like what people are doing, how people are looking at their job, how people are looking at school, all of this, it's kind of going to change, right? And you can see that. And the main reason why that is because memory is like we have more abundance of memory, we can play more with memory, and less scarcity of memory means, roles and things like that. It kind of changes how people, everything changes, everything changes. So yeah, that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and Steam blockchain. Bye bye.